So yeah, so like around this time next year, we'll be at 300.
I know. Crazy.
I wonder what we'll do for 300.
I don't
We
know.
got
We should start
we,
thinking about that now.
we got a year to figure it out.
I want to let everybody know on the show, too, that I'm going to start releasing Pop Culture Palette episodes for the patrons.
That's a good idea. I like that. At some point, I got to sit down and because I want to map out like the first week of the month. What am I going to release for my Patreon? Like I want to release something once a week.
Do you have a quarter we could flip? Let me check the Patreon real quick. Because last I checked, our poll was tied. Of course, I lost, as per usual.
So it's between what Toy Story and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
I can go get one.
Yeah, because, let's see. View.
Actually, I know what we can use.
Yep, it's still tied.
So I've got an Avengers Endgame coin
Oh,
that
that'll
we
work.
can use. So one side has the Avengers A, the other says Avengers Endgame. So we can. What I'll do is I'll flip it, make sure it hits the table, and then I'll just take my webcam and put it. So there's no suspicion of cheating.
Let me make sure we haven't gotten any new. Let's see.
But if my choice loses, I'm going to rage quit the show. No, I won't do that.
No, we haven't gotten any new patrons this week. Same old people.
But we love our patrons.
We love our patrons. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had I gained one and lost one. So then I had to redo the Patreon ad that I put at the beginning of my show.
Mm-hmm.
But then the patron that left came back. So now I got to redo the ad again.
Of course.
So for my new show, I'm just going to do like I do with this one and just read the names like live.
What's up, Rampage, in the chat room?
Rampage!
You're not old. You're seasoned. That's what I say about myself. I'm not old. I'm just seasoned.
Let me pull up the chat. So you excited for Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I've got my tickets for tomorrow.
Yeah, it might be this weekend before I get to watch it though.
Well, I won't spoil anything.
No spoilers.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be very, very good. At least I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got everything up. All my levels are good and ready to do a show.
Do I sound good?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay.
All right.
Because I know on the Ghostbusters roundtable, my audio was a little hot. So
you're a little hot, but not.
I'll drop it down a bit. Check 1 2. Check audio. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I've got all the tabs open, so I'm all set when you are.
There we go. In 3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and we are here for episode 250. 250 episodes of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is Derek Diamond.
Did you think we'd get to 250?
I don't know. Yes, I do think we would have made it to 250. I wasn't expecting it to be this soon. because the longtime listeners know that originally this show was only going to be seasonal,
Yeah.
but we had so much fun doing it that we decided to do it every single week. And we've been pretty consistent for the most part. I mean, like, we've taken some weeks off, but we haven't gone on any type of like extended hiatus or anything. So yeah, hit 250 episodes, and I know earlier this year we hit the 5-year mark. So time's flying by. I was still in my 20s when we started this show.
See, I would have thought we would have run out of games by now, but no, we're still lots of games to play. So don't think we're gonna pod fade anytime soon.
Well, to think about it, because I was thinking about it the other day too. There's still a lot of good games that we haven't reviewed yet on this show, and there's a special one that I'm going to review next week, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, it's cool, and I appreciate all the listeners, the Patreon subscribers, everyone who's supported our fun podcasting venture for the last 250 episodes.
Dude, I was just thinking about the amount of games we still have left to play. Yeah, I was at the local retro gaming store this last weekend, and when I bought Twisted Metal Black, and just the wall of PS2 games, I was almost like frozen with like what do they call it, paralyzation of choice or whatever, something like that.
Yeah,
you're just completely paralyzed. There's so much to choose from. And I'm like, there's so many games to play that I never got to play the first time around. I played maybe, I'd say probably 15 to 20 PS2 games back in the day, and there are 2,000 PS2 games to play. I'm like, we're never going to get to everything. We're going to die before we get to all the games we want to play.
When you think of the lifespan of that console is absolutely insane. And even going back farther, there's still several N64 games that we haven't talked about, GameCube games. And eventually we'll get to the point where, God, I hate to say it, but like the Wii and the PS3 are going to be retro games.
And the PS2 is still popular. I was at the retro game store, and there were just people buying PS2 games. Like, I had to wait to get to the wall because there were so many people looking through PS2 games. I'm like, man, this thing is still popular. Like, there's people, probably there were people my age looking at the games. There were young people looking at the games. And it was nice to see that people, even young people are like, oh, I want to play this game. You ever played this? Like, just talking about it. I'm like, man, you were probably a year old when this thing was released, and they're going back and playing these games. It's pretty cool.
Which says a lot to the staying power of it. And the fact that it's now spanning generations. We've known of like the NES and the Super Nintendo as being one of those consoles that spans generations. But yeah, we are at that point where consoles from like the early 2000s are going to be in that same category.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Hey, I'm in the same boat you are, my friend.
Yeah. So what have you been doing this week? How was your week?
Pretty good. Still coming off the high of watching the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that premiered last night. So there are movies that I get like really hyped for, and you know how big of a Spider-Man fan I am. And I have some of my favorite theater memories are seeing the original like Tobey Maguire movies, even the first Andrew Garfield movie, The Amazing Spider-Man. I have sentimental reasons attached to most of them, and in seeing the trailer and almost seeing like the generational Spider-Man coming back together as far as them incorporating all the villains and everything, it was just really cool. And seeing all the stuff that's been rumored for so long, but I'm happy that they didn't give everything away.
Yeah.
But I'll say this with the trailer, this is the last thing that I want to see before this movie comes out. Like, I want to try and avoid commercials, all of it. Like, now I've seen the trailer. Now I'm just ready for the movie.
So if it's the Sinister Six, we still haven't seen if Vulture's going to be there. So do you think we get Vulture so that we have Michael Keaton as Vulture and Spider-Man and returning to the bat suit and
the Flash?
The Flash, yeah.
It could be, or Mysterio could have faked his death.
Yeah.
Could be. There's still so much that could happen. I hope it's Michael Keaton, because they got to bring in that one villain to be the final piece of the Sinister Six. But seeing Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock, but
Oh yeah.
the thing that really like made me nerd out over the whole thing was hearing Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, because no one can play that role like him.
Yeah.
They tried to recast him in The Amazing Spider-Man, but it just didn't work with Chris Cooper. Willem Dafoe is one of the best cast Marvel characters in the history of Marvel films. So to hear his voice and see him back was just, it took me back to being a sophomore in high school watching the original movie again. So I can't wait.
The line that got me in the trailer was when Alfred Molina has Peter Parker, got him by the neck. He's upside down. And he's like, he takes off the mask and he's like, "You're not Peter Parker."
Yeah.
At that moment, I'm like, Tobey Maguire's coming back. Like, why would he say that if Tobey Maguire's not going to be there?
Yeah, I think both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in it, because I've said it from the beginning. It makes too much sense. And why would you bring in their villains and their specific actors playing those same villains if you're not bringing their Spider-Man back?
Yeah.
This is basically going to be Spider-Man Endgame.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is what it's going to be.
It's going to be so awesome.
I don't know what they're going to do to top it or what they're going to do after this, but we'll worry about that later.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of, I got sucked back into Animal Crossing this last
I knew
week.
it was only a matter of time.
Went back to my island and it was overgrown with weeds and everybody's like, "We thought you were dead," basically. So I showed my face back on the island and everybody was like, "Where have you been?" It's been over that. One of the comments on there was, "It's been a year and 1 month since I logged into Animal Crossing."
That's awesome though. Did your turnip lady say hi?
No, I haven't seen the turnip lady yet.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I've almost beat Skyward Sword. I'm at the final boss. I just gotta stock up on items before I do that final battle, because it's a bear to beat. So
yeah,
but it's been fun going back and playing. And then once I beat that, I'm gonna finally get Metroid Dread.
Yeah,
start playing that.
It's probably gonna be a while before I get back to Metroid Dread. I just started playing Knights of the Old Republic, and yes, I bought the remaster on the Switch, and that's where I'm playing it. And you know what? I'm having a blast playing it on the Switch. So if anybody has anything to say about it, I love playing it on the Switch, and there's nothing you can say that'll change my mind.
You can express your opinion to @JFunktastic on Twitter, or @NerdCaveRetro on Twitter.
And he will. Trust me, he will.
I'm going to wake up tomorrow just in anticipation for the Twitter comments.
Man, everybody was jumping on my case yesterday. Every time I logged into Twitter, @TheRealBigWall was taking me to task because he was listening to last week's episode, apparently, yesterday. And then, of course, Jester, Mike Evelyn from B-Res Coffee jumps in. And then Rampage is jumping in. And then everybody's getting on my case. And you know what? You know what? That's okay. I can take it. I can take it.
Just remember, like I said on Twitter, you're not mad at me. You're mad at the masses.
But I'm just kidding around. I don't mind. Yeah, like, they can take me to task all they want. I'm still having fun playing on my Switch. And you know what? I like it. There's a lot of stupid stuff that Nintendo does, but you know what? I like my Switch. That's where I like playing my games at.
It makes for good banter.
Oh, and the comment that was made about it's shocking how little we know about copyright law for historical footage. I'm sorry, I missed that day, apparently, when they were teaching historical footage copyright law in class. I must have missed that day. Sorry.
Same. I was too busy playing Zelda and Sonic,
Yeah.
which was so funny because Wally was like, "Oh, I'm not a fan of either." So I'm just like, Wally might as well have just reached in my chest, pulled out my heart, threw it in a blender, and just hit max speed.
Yeah. it was a day yesterday on Twitter. It was
Yeah,
a
it
fun
was.
day. But
It was, but in a good way.
we got news to get to. You ready to get to the news?
Let's do it.
Today's stories were submitted to us by you, the listeners. Most of the stories today are brought to us by Armez Jackson, one of our Patreon supporters. Sends a lot of news stories our way. And if you have a story you'd like us to cover, send them to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. This top story I pulled off of Polygon.com. Man, there was a big happening over at Blizzard yesterday. This is just one of the stories that popped up yesterday. Jen O'Neill, briefly in charge of Blizzard, expressed no faith in Activision leadership. Let's see. When she stepped down from her brief position as co-leader of Blizzard Entertainment, Jen O'Neill said she was leaving not because I am without hope for Blizzard. Turns out maybe she really was. The Wall Street Journal on Tuesday reported that O'Neill, who turned over Blizzard's leadership to Mike Ibarra on November 2nd, sent an email in September in which she said she had little faith Activision could turn around a toxic workplace shot through with sexual harassment and discrimination. O'Neill, who was writing to discuss her resignation, also alleged that she had been paid less than Ibarra and that she had been sexually harassed earlier in her 13-year career with Activision. It was clear that the company would never prioritize our people the right way, O'Neill wrote. I have been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against. Activision Blizzard's leadership is graciously offering their support for her decision, has worked with her on a plan to invest in the future of other women in the gaming industry. The money will be used to fund skill building and mentorship programs. She went on to call Ibarra unbelievably supportive throughout my decision-making process around this move, and said Blizzard's best days are ahead. But then a lot of stuff came out because of this Wall Street Journal thing. I mean, this is a really lengthy article, but that's just kind of like the top, the surface of it. But basically, Bobby Kotick is a human piece of garbage and needs to go. And Blizzard and their board of directors are doubling down, standing behind him. And he needs to go, or Blizzard is going to go down in a pile of flames.
Yeah, I mean, this, like you said, this is part of a much bigger story. But yeah, if he ends up staying, it's going to do some real long-term reputational damage.
Yeah, and I read another article yesterday, too, of some of the stuff coming out about Bobby Kotick. I mean, there were emails where there was an email where he threatened to kill a worker that worked there. He has continually harassed people, like sexually harassed women, and he sent out he sculpted an email right after everything that happened, and then like threw somebody else under the bus because of that email was not received well by the public, or that one of the something to. I'm butchering this story, but it was a press release that Activision had put out after everything started happening, and everybody jumped on it as being tone deaf, and then he threw somebody else under the bus over that, but he pinned it. And it's just, he's just not a good person and needs to go, like now, yesterday.
My thing is, like, with all this stuff coming out about him, and it's not just like one isolated incident, it's multiple situations involving multiple people.
Yeah.
If it's an isolated incident, then yeah, you might look at it as a one-time thing, but this is not that at all. Like, everything that's come out and just his reaction to it, yeah, he has to go.
So yeah,
like there's no other way around it. He just has to go.
So yeah, Blizzard employees have staged another huge walkout. to try and force change in the company because apparently nothing's getting done. Nothing's being changed. I mean, she's been there as in charge of Blizzard for 3 months, and she's already stepping down because of all the crap that's going on behind the scenes. Like, what is happening over there at Activision Blizzard? Like, they just need, from the top down, they just need to get rid of these people.
I mean, that might be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Just, I'm sometimes I think the best thing to do is to literally burn the whole thing down and start over.
I have no faith in Blizzard anymore. Like, I know there's a lot of good people that work there that just want to do their job and make good games, but I can't support that company anymore. I don't want to buy their games anymore. I was looking forward to Diablo 4. I have no desire to play that game anymore. I'm done with Blizzard at this point.
I do hope that at some point they do the right thing and make some changes.
Yeah.
For the sake of, people like you said who are just there to do their job because they love making games.
Yeah.
But this won't be the last that we hear of it. But hopefully more positive news will come of it.
This thing just keeps getting worse and worse as it goes along.
Yeah. But our next story comes to us from NintendoEnthusiast.com. Knights of the Old Republic gets multiple limited run editions. Star Wars aficionados, I'm sure you're aware of the Switch version of Star Wars KOTOR was released last week. The digital eShop title can be downloaded right now for $15. But for those of us who crave physical media, there is another. I see what they did there. Limited Run Games has just announced multiple editions of Knights of the Old Republic, and some of them are pretty sweet. The basic version of the game comes with a box and physical cartridge for $34.99. Then we have the premium and masters editions, which, let's see, includes an Ebon Hawk pin, concept art cards, and more. Let's see, premium edition includes physical game, hardcover box, steelbook, reversible poster, concept art cards, light side / dark side commemorative coins, certificate of authenticity, and Ebon Hawk metal pin. That'll set you back $90. The master edition has mostly everything the premium one does, plus a throwback case, lithographs, premium hardcover strategy guide, Darth Revan miniature hilt replicas, Vibroblade letter opener, and a replica Pazik set, which is $175, and pre-orders go on sale November 19th and end on January 2nd. It sounds like really cool features with both these editions. I don't think I will get either of them because I'm kind of trying to save money.
Yeah.
But if I had the spare money, then yeah, I'd consider it because I think it's something that would be worth it if you are a diehard fan of this game.
I mean, I would love to have, the master edition, but I've already gotten the digital version for $15. I would probably throw down $35 for just to have the
physical copy.
The physical release of it, because it just looks cool to have. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with just the digital download because I just love this game. I've been playing it the last week, and I can't wait to review it and talk about it next month.
Yeah, it'll be a good game to play. I need to get it as well because it's been a long time since I played either of those games. But I remember them being a lot of fun.
Yeah. Especially if you like the Mass Effect series, this was the beginning of that style of gameplay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I do want to continue blocking ads, Nintendo Life. This next story comes from our favorite site, NintendoLife.com. The new Zelda Game & Watch hides a cool little secret. Today, the launch of the Nintendo's latest Game & Watch system, Legend of Zelda, arrives on store shelves. It's a cool little device with plenty of features, but there's one little secret that Nintendo kept from building up to its launch. Let's see. Color screen. On the back and in the far right lighting conditions, you should be able to see a glowing Triforce symbol as shared by Nintendo Life reader at Signer. Let's see. You'll need to be in a relatively darkened room and have the unit's brightness turned up to spot it. So if you do that, a little Triforce symbol glows on the back of the Game & Watch.
Does it grant your wish if you touch it?
Maybe. You have to try.
I do want to get one of these eventually. You know, I mentioned it, I think it was last week on the show when we were talking about it. I don't know to what extent I would play it because I've got all of these games already, you know, playable on other systems. But because I'm a Zelda fan, I would love to just have it as a collector's item.
Yeah, it's a cool looking little system. That's just a nice little touch to put on the back of it.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's something I want to get at some point, but I do love little nuances like that Nintendo or other companies will add in. Let's see. Our next story comes to us from NintendoEverything.com. Stocks 9800 stock market simulator planned for the Switch. Had this been released in high school, I probably would have done much better in economics.
Yeah.
Stock market simulator is seeing a release on Switch. Developer Turnox has announced while the game will initially arrive in the first quarter of 2022, the console version will follow later in the year. If you're interested in learning more about the title, read the following overview. A simulator of a businessman on the Japanese stock market in the 80s and 90s. Chill, catch a retro vibe, and watch your profits grow in the text-based game Stocks 9800. Key features include buying stocks, get dividends, and monitor the stock price. Your actions affect the market. Keep an eye on your health and do not overwork, lest you end up in the hospital. Take care of a lot of problems. Buy your own real estate and cars, increasing your level of comfort. Manage the company, having a controlling interest. The opportunity to earn not only the legal way. Mini games include pachinko and betting on horse races, and many other features and unexpected situations await you in Stocks 9800. The American version of this, and they would never do it because of the licensing, but it should totally be based on The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. Yeah, they never get the rights for that.
No, not at all. But in theory, it would be a great game. It's interesting, you know, like Nintendo does have a history of releasing educational based games, you know, even dating back to the SNES. I don't know of any other educational based games for the Switch. I mean, I won't play this, but it's kind of interesting.
Sounds like a nice, fun little chill out game.
Yeah.
This sounds like something I would just kind of chill out and play while just laying on the couch watching TV. Like, it's one of those games you can play without having to put like 100% of your attention into.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, you know, you can watch a TV show and still play this and not know what's going on.
Yeah, it doesn't have a price listed on the article.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm not entirely sure how much it is, but it can't be that expensive.
It's got probably like $10, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And for our last story, this is also from NintendoLife.com. The elusive McDonald's Nintendo DS has made another appearance online. There have been plenty of rare and elusive Nintendo consoles over the past few decades, either released as one-offs or under limited circumstances. The McDonald's DS is right up there as one of the more quirky system variants. The McDonald's branded Nintendo DS consoles were sent out to Japanese McDonald's branches back in 2010, only ever being shared internally before eventually being returned to Nintendo, or at least they should have been returned. Never officially released to the public, the systems were shipped to stores alongside a game cartridge called E-Crew Development Program, which teaches new staff how to cook and serve items from the McDonald's menu using a food preparation simulator and includes player profiles and performance statistics for managers to assess. A very small handful of these units sneaked out into the public. 5 are known about, and one of them is owned by Twitter user @XX_75 750,000. They've been sharing photos of the system as well as detailed looks at the manuals, which come with the included cartridges.
I've never heard of this
Me neither.
until now. I don't know what to think of this. I get it, but why go through all that trouble to release like a DS specifically for McDonald's employees to do training programs?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Like they'll do that, but they won't update their freaking online store.
Right?
Like, don't get me wrong, like seeing a DS with the McDonald's, M logo on it's kind of cool, but I feel like Nintendo's resources can be used in a much better way, like
Yeah.
fixing your online store.
Yeah. Like, this is just so weird. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's a training program. I mean, why not just have, like, do that on a computer or, iPads were out at this time. Like,
Yeah.
to have Nintendo specifically make, these very few systems for McDonald's managers, like, that's such a closed system. Like, it just seems so impractical.
It just seems like a waste.
Yeah. I mean, it'd
Like
be
you
cool
said, why
to
not?
have one. Like, look, I've got a McDonald's branded Nintendo DS. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird, but it's so, like, it makes no sense.
I can guarantee you neither Ray Kroc or the McDonald's brothers ever pictured that happening.
No, I think if you'd have went to all three of those guys and told them, hey, you're going to have a McDonald's branded Nintendo DS, they wouldn't know what the hell you were talking about.
No. They think it was some type of new food special.
Yeah, you might as well be talking Swahili to them. Like, they would have no idea.
Exactly.
It's just so weird. All it is a black DS with a McDonald's logo on it.
Yeah, that's really all it is, and there were 3 cartridges for it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. That's just so weird.
Yeah.
Nintendo does weird stuff like this, and I'm just like, why? There's no point in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't have much to say about it other than it's just weird.
Initially, when I read the article earlier, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." But then, in actually talking about it, I'm like, "Wait a minute, this is stupid. This is stupid. I don't like it."
But now we're about to move into this month in video game history. On November 13th of 1996, Tom Clancy and Virtus Corp found Red Storm Entertainment, headed by Doug Littlejohns.
Such a great last name.
Yeah, Littlejohns.
Which Red Storm is mostly known for developing games in the Tom Clancy franchise, which, if you remember in the early 2000s, those were, I felt like I saw commercials for those games all the time. I saw them in stores all the time.
Tom Clancy games and the Xbox, PlayStation 2 era were, God, they were pumping those things out left and right.
I felt like there was a new one every couple of months.
And it was not my thing. I've tried to play some of the Splinter Cell games, and I hate stealth games. Like, I just cannot do it.
Yeah, they never really seemed like they would be my thing, so I just never bothered with them. But they had to have been popular, or they weren't that expensive to make, because there were a lot of them.
They were popular, but man, I didn't even try any of the other ones, like the Rainbow Six games and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd be interested to talk with someone who did, because out of like all my friends groups, never knew anybody that played any of those games.
Me neither.
But somebody did.
Yeah.
Because they kept making them. On November 21st, 1998, Nintendo releases a little-known game called The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, which, if I remember correctly, was the first game to ever get a perfect 10 on IGN's website.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it was okay. It was just a little indie game that
kind
of had made, but no, between this and Link to the Past, I think those are the two most popular and well-received games of that entire franchise, which is saying a lot because I mean, everybody knows my love for the Zelda franchise at this point, but yeah, I mean, what else can you say about Ocarina of Time? It's my favorite video game of all time. I can still remember playing it for the first time in my room at the original house that I lived in back when I was a kid. So many fun memories based on that game. I want to play it for the Switch, but until they fix their online store and add more to it, I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. November 20th of 2000, Rare releases Banjo-Tooie for the Nintendo 64. One of your favorite games, I believe.
Which is still to this day, I think, underrated because the original Banjo-Kazooie is just so iconic when it comes to the platforming genre and of that generation especially. I mean, even I say Banjo-Kazooie is the perfect 3D platforming game. It's better. It's a better game than Mario 64. And Banjo-Tooie, while it's good, I think it might have been a little too ambitious. It's a much bigger game than Banjo-Kazooie is. But I would love to see, if Rare and Nintendo ever make up, I would love to see remastered Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie for the Switch. Like, I truly think those two games would do so well.
I don't see Nintendo caring enough to do that, though.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But one can dream. On November 15th, 2001, we just celebrated the 20th anniversary of this. Bungie releases Halo Combat Evolved for the Xbox, which I will be reviewing next week here on the show. We've talked about this numerous times that, we were coming up on the 20th anniversary of Halo, and with it being here, it's time to do it. Yeah. We've never reviewed an Xbox game, and I'm stoked to talk about Halo.
I don't even need to replay it. I played it so much in the past. Like, I could tell, I still know every inch of that game.
Well, and I'll get into it more next week, but to me, Halo, especially that first game, is more than a video game. It's an experience.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk. We got a lot to say. That might be a 2-hour show next week.
Yeah. Well, so we might have to carve out some extra time.
Yeah.
For that.
Good evening, Armez Jackson, for joining us in the chat room.
Welcome, Armez Jackson.
And our last one for the evening, November 18th, 2001, Nintendo releases the GameCube in North America. Never heard of it.
Yeah, just go ahead and put me in the grave at this point. So we're recording this on the 17th. So tomorrow is the actual 20th anniversary of the GameCube being released in North America.
20 freaking years, man.
It's nuts because I still remember getting the GameCube for Christmas that year and playing, Luigi's Mansion, Pikmin, Super Smash Brothers, Melee.
Yeah.
The GameCube, I feel like it's getting more love now.
Oh, yeah.
But, I've said it for years on this show that the GameCube to me was that decline in the relevancy of Nintendo, because it also had the rise of the Xbox and the PlayStation 2.
Well, people are definitely starting to realize what a good system that was, because, dude, the games for the GameCube are starting to get ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
They're so expensive now.
That's why I'm glad I kept a lot of them. Like, I still have my copy of Smash Brothers Melee. I've got Metroid Prime, Wind Waker. Most of the big GameCube games I still have.
Dude, I had Wind Waker, I had Resident Evil 4, I had the Rogue Squadron games, I had all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sold it because I'm an idiot. Especially just for Wind Waker. I mean, crap, Wind Waker is like $70 just for a regular, not even like sealed copy or anything. It's like $70-$80.
I still can't believe they didn't put the HD version of Wind Waker on the Switch, because they did it for the Wii U. Why don't you just port it? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I really don't get it.
Before we go into our review for tonight, we like to do shout-outs of our lovely, lovely patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And Derek, would you like to shout out all of our patrons?
Yes, as always, we like to shout out our patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out AxeBlade07, Daniel Salmon, Armez Jackson, Hand Solo, Carlos Longoria, Steph Sargent Sketch, Brandon Rutledge, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Joey Image, Ron Johnson, Mixmaster, and Mike Eveland. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions. And if you want to be a part of our awesome Patreon community, let me tell you a little bit about what you get. You get our awesome commentary tracks like Super Mario Brothers, Clue, Big Trouble in Little China, so many great movies and shows that we've done commentary tracks for. I can't even remember how long we've been doing the commentary tracks for. I know it's been a while, but we've done a lot of good ones. And it's funny because the one for November is actually a tie.
So, which I lost because the tie is between Wally and Derek. So we decided we're going to flip a coin. Derek has Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Wally has Toy Story. So we're going to flip a coin and show him the coin there, Derek.
Okay, so for those who are watching the video version, I have a special Avengers Endgame commemorative coin. One side we have the Avengers A, the other is the Avengers Endgame full logo with text. So I think since you're the neutral party here, you should dictate what side is which.
Just the A is the heads and the full logo is tails. And the A will be heads will be Planes, Trains, Automobiles, and tails will be Toy Story.
I did get nervous when Wally picked Toy Story. I'm like, oh, that might break my streak. So I'm clearing off some space here. Okay. So what I'm going to do for those who are watching the video version, I'm going to flip the coin so that it lands on my desk here. And then I'll take my webcam and show that it in fact did land so that I'm not cheating.
All
right. So you said heads, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, tails, Toy Story.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go.
What do we got? It's a little hard to see. Still can't see it.
Hang on. Let me shine my light here.
Yeah, slide it over into the light. Okay. So we got tails. So Toy Story it is.
The streak is over.
Gosh
Derek's darn it.
Streak has been broken.
But I haven't watched Toy Story in a while, so
it'll be nice.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
Watching Toy Story this month. That's cool.
Yeah. I dig that. So yeah, we'll get to do Toy Story. We'll do that some point this month. And if you want to vote on some of our reviews, every now and then we post polls on our Patreon that you, the subscribers, get to vote on what we review. So if you want access to all that stuff, just head on over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And if you're a new Patreon subscriber, be sure to send us your social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you prefer, so we can give you a proper shout out.
Also for our Patreons, and you will get this at all Patreon levels. Me and Derek have been talking about it. And exclusively for our Patreons, I'm going to start releasing every month an episode, a past episode of the Pop Culture Palette, because those episodes are not available anywhere. So I figured, what a nice surprise for our Patreon listeners. So every month, get an episode of the Pop Culture Palette. And I'm just going to go through some of some of my favorite old episodes of that show. We did a lot of cool interviews with people. We did good pop culture talk. So I'll be releasing some episodes starting probably this weekend. I'll pick an episode and upload to the Patreon. So if you want to start getting an episode every month of the Pop Culture Palette, go join our Patreon at any level, and you will be able to get that extra episode every single month.
I like it. And I do miss listening to Pop Culture Palette, because when it was still available to listen to, I would go back every now and then and
Yeah.
listen to some of the shows you guys did. So
It's a shame that it's not available anywhere, because that show was fun to do, and it's still pretty evergreen too.
Yeah.
So it was just general, we talked to, like, general pop culture talk. We did a lot of interviews with people. Like, we talked to the creators of the Suicide Squad. We talked to a lot of, comic book artists and writers and all kind of people. So it's going to be cool for people to get to hear those episodes again.
Yeah, for sure. And for those who have never heard it, they'll get to hear it.
Yeah. And right now we're going to go into our review. And tonight I am talking about... Nope, it's not Final Fantasy, which everybody is expecting me to talk about tonight. I told everyone in our Discord they were going to be sorely disappointed that tonight was not a Final Fantasy episode. But tonight is Twisted Metal Black for the PlayStation 2. It is a vehicle combat video game developed by Incognito Entertainment and designed by Sony Computer Entertainment America for the PlayStation 2. It is a reboot of the Twisted Metal series and was released on June 18th, 2001. An online-enabled multiplayer-only variant, Twisted Metal Black Online, was released later as a free send-away. So basically, this game is just all it really is a demolition derby type of game, but you have all kind of cool different characters that you can be, different vehicles. Each vehicle has its own different stats. Like some of the cars, like Calypso has a car that has not as much armor, but it's faster and it has really good firepower. Or you have, trying to remember all, I think, what was his name? Trying to remember some of their names in the game. I can't remember. But you have Mr. Grimm, who is... he rides a motorcycle, and he has a lot of firepower, but no shields whatsoever, no armor. But he's very, very fast. And of course, you have Sweet Tooth, who drives around in a modified ice cream truck. That
the face of the franchise.
Yeah, it's pretty slow, but he's got a lot of firepower. But I noticed. What were you going to say?
I've got the list of characters pulled up. So we've got Agent Stone, who drives a vehicle called the Outlaw. Mr. Grimm, a John Doe character. Their vehicle name is Roadkill, which I love. Bloody Mary, Dollface, Raven, and of course Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, and it does sort of have a story to it. Every character you pick, they all start out at the asylum. They're just pretty much out in the middle of nowhere, and they're all kind of telling their story. And the cutscenes look great. They're not, they're computer generated graphics, but they're not animated. They're just kind of still shots that are, kind of told, dynamic camera angles and stuff like that. But basically, the person who runs this demolition derby is going to give you your freedom and basically give you whoever you need to kill at the very end if you do this demolition derby style thing. So I'm not quite sure what's going on in the world, but it's pretty post-apocalyptic, with all this savagery going on. But I really like the fact that there is sort of a story mode to the game. I tried a bunch of different characters, tried different vehicles. I think it really boiled down to, Sweet Tooth has pretty much the best all-round vehicle. It's kind of slow, but I noticed playing this game that the controls are very slippery. Like as far as with the vehicles, the way they control, it takes a while to kind of get used to it. But another thing I noticed about this game, I had to go in the settings and turn up the brightness because good God, this game was dark. I forgot how dark this game was.
Yeah, and going back and watching some gameplay of it, because I haven't played this game in a very long time. Yeah, it's one you got to bump up the brightness on your TV for.
Yeah, it's so hard to see if you don't put your brightness up, and the combat is just it's so chaotic, but it's so fun to play. Like it's just crazy, like the amount of special. Like each driver has their own kind of special ability, that you can do. Like the Sweet Tooth ice cream truck turns into a giant, almost like a transformer, but like a giant clown, and just shoots off like dozens of missiles, and like each character has their own special ability like that.
What I tell people if they don't know anything about the Twisted Metal games, they can really be summed up in two words: mass chaos.
Yeah, it is.
But a fun type of mass chaos. Like if you just want to play something that you don't have to really think about, like you just dive in and your objective is just to beat your opponents.
Yeah.
That's what these games are, but there's just so much going on when you get like the max number of people that can play, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
Like I want to play this game again at some point. I'd love to play it with actual people because that's the best way to do it.
And it's an early game with destructible environments and stuff like that. Like it's not like it doesn't have all the good particle effects and things like games today have, but it's still fun to destroy the environments. Like you have levels where you're in a neighborhood, or you're on a freeway and you can just run through houses and just destroy everything around, and it's so fun. And Rampage is saying in the chat room that this will make a great battle royale game these days.
Oh my God, yes.
We talked about that not too long ago about as I was playing this game, I was just thinking, man, we are ripe for a Twisted Metal comeback. Like this game, and it doesn't even have to be like 100 players. You could just do between 20 and 50. You have a good size map, that isn't too big, but it's not too small. And the customization that you could do nowadays to your vehicle, like you could pick, like say Sweet Tooth or Mr. Grimm or Dollface or anybody you want, or you could do like a character creation where you do, you pick a base model car, like say like a 1968 Mustang, or like whatever kind of car like that you want to play as, and you just go through and you just mod it with like different weapons and paint jobs and all kind of stuff like that. Like that would be so freaking cool to do, like a Fortnite style game, but Twisted Metal.
I'd want to do it with 100 people.
Yeah, that would be just
it would be so insane. Like you'd have at least 10 people be killed within the first 20 seconds of the match.
Oh yeah, it would just be chaos, just mass chaos.
Well, and anytime I would play this game, like I would never really have a strategy. I would just pretty much be like that gunfighter who just goes in guns blazing and just try to take out as many people as possible, because that to me is how I like to play these types of games, because that's what they are to me.
And could you imagine if they got the licenses that, say, like Fortnite gets, where they have Batman and the Mandalorian and stuff like that? Can you imagine if you could play like Mad Max, or the different versions of Mad Max? You could do the Mel Gibson version of Mad Max from Road Warrior, or you can do the Tom Hardy version of Mad Max, or you could get like the DeLorean, or I don't know, just so many cool things that you could do. Yeah, the Ecto 1. Imagine like having an Ecto 1 in a mass battle royale thing like that. Like I just it's unlimited the things you could do.
it should happen. Like it's just that simple. It should happen.
Yeah, it should, and I don't know
It
why it
it,
has
it
not
won't,
happened.
but I'm with you. I think Twisted Metal is one of those franchises because I believe it's Sony's longest running franchise in the PlayStation era. Like it's older than Crash Bandicoot,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's not really talked about on that same level.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I mean, I guess because there hasn't been a Twisted Metal game in quite a while. It's just kind of dropped off everyone's radar. But I think that if they were to do a reboot of it and do it in that battle royale style, I think it would be just as popular now, if not more.
Rampage says Twisted Metal Chaos Royale.
Yeah, that's pretty much
I
what it
love
would
it.
be.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what it would be.
But and in this game, there's like 8 levels that you go through. You can pick different. Each time you go to a level, you get to pick a different map that you want to go through. There's a lot of replayability to this game, and it's not. Each match lasts a while because you got like 8 or 9 other cars on there, and they're not easy to take down. You really gotta you really have to focus on like one car to take it down. Like it's not just hit it with a missile and it's blown up. Like you really have to. Like these games take a while. Like each match lasts 20, 30 minutes.
But that's part of the appeal of it is that it's not just like it's chaotic, but it's not a match that's over in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you do have to have a little bit of strategy.
Yeah.
But also while not really having strategy.
And it's also one of the things, like the more you play it, the more you kind of memorize the map and where everything is. Because those maps, like I said, when I was first started playing it again, those maps were so dark. I didn't know where everything, I couldn't remember where anything was. But as soon as I adjusted the brightness and could see, I started to memorize where things were and was getting better at it as I went because I could remember where, okay, the homing missiles are over here. There's health packs over here and like all that kind of stuff. And there also the environments against you too. Like there are garages that you drive through, but the doors are slamming shut. Every couple of seconds, there's like a really good, pickup in there of like a different missile or whatever, and you try to go through the door, and all of a sudden the door slams shut on you, and you're just like, ouch, and you take like half your life off.
Yeah. Yeah, this is such a fun game, and like having this conversation is making me want to find a copy and play it again.
Yeah, it's really fun. I had a lot of fun playing this over the weekend. I didn't finish the game because I kept restarting, like with different characters and going through the maps with each different vehicle type. And I am not good with the faster vehicles like Mr. Grimm and Dollface and those characters. I like the big, slower characters, and because it's just I don't have that. I don't know that, like I said, the controls are so slippery with the cars. Like the faster you go, you're just sliding all over the place. It's really hard to control. The faster vehicles are way harder to control.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. What's crazy about this game, and I was reading some of the reviews that it got. It sold just under 1 million copies and made $31 million.
Wow.
In the United States, which is a little surprising to me. And it was the let's see, it received a rating of 9.5 out of 10 from GameSpot and a 9.6 from IGN. And then in GameSpot's Best and Worst of 2001, the game was nominated for Best Shooting Game and came in 9th in their Game of the Year category. It was also nominated in the Best Graphics and Artistic category.
I would have thought it sold more copies than that because everybody I knew that had a PS2 had this game.
Yeah, that's what's surprising to me is that I thought it would have been more.
Yeah, and you can't deny, like, that cover art just draws you in. You're like, I have to play this. Just that Sweet Tooth's face, kind of, half his face just kind of
Yeah,
bathed in darkness, and it just says Twisted Metal Black. Like, I have to play this game.
I'm a sucker for the half face, like poster or cover art, whatever
Yeah.
the case may be. Like I just think it looks really cool. But yeah, it's simple, but it does draw you in because you're like, okay, this is some type of creepy psycho clown. What is this about? I want to know more.
Yeah. And like I said, the controls are a little slippery, but it's not something that you can't get used to after a little while, because this is, like I said, it's the early days of the DualShock controller. So some of the buttons aren't quite where I would expect them to be, like the brake. To brake, you have to use the right stick, and that's reverse as well. And I actually, after a while, I was like, do I have brakes at all in this game? So I went and looked through the manuals and learned where all the controls were. I was like, oh, I miss manuals. I miss having manuals so much.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Something else that I saw here that I had no idea, and I kind of want to look these up. There was a series of 6 original Flash webisodes to promote the release of the game that featured each of the characters.
Oh, we're going to have to
So
look this up on YouTube.
yeah, they've got to be on YouTube.
Have to be.
Yeah. Let's see. Go to YouTube. Twisted Metal Black.
The graphics on this game are still top notch. I mean, it still looks great. And one of my favorite things to do, and I didn't know, while I was doing it until after I did it, during the second map, you can go to a neighborhood and they have a circus like up on the hill that's there, and you can like run through the tents and all that kind of stuff. But you can knock the Ferris wheel off of its moorings, and it just rolls through the town. I was like, that's so freaking awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, the webisodes are on YouTube.
Oh, awesome. I have to watch these.
Yeah, they all look short too. They're all like 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, I figured they were probably pretty short, considering this was early internet. So there was
These
no
were made
YouTube
with Flash,
at the time.
so
Yeah, they had to be pretty short.
yeah.
But
That's awesome though.
There's not much more I can say about it. I mean, it's if you've never played even if you've never played Twisted Metal Black, you know what Twisted Metal's about. It's just a crazy demolition derby with all kind of cool cars and different cool characters. Everybody wants to be Sweet Tooth, because who doesn't want to be Sweet Tooth? A ice cream truck that shoots missiles and is driven around by a clown whose head is on fire.
What more could anyone ask?
What more can you ask for? But yeah,
exactly.
Just from what little I got to play over the weekend, like I said, I haven't finished it, because man, these maps, each game is kind of long. Like, it takes a while to get through each map. So I highly recommend, if you have a PS2, I would say go ahead and pick this up. I mean, I paid I think I paid about $14 for it, and it's a really nice copy of the game. The booklet, the instruction book, is so freaking cool. Like, it looks like it's handwritten, like in an old journal, and tells you about the different characters and everything. I'm like, man, this is really cool. I forgot how much I missed instruction manuals.
Oh, I always loved reading instruction manuals whenever they came with a game. So I was at my parents' house a week ago, and I found my old instruction manual for Link's Awakening for the Game Boy.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so love little instruction booklets.
I probably still have mine at my mom's house somewhere. I just got to find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just from what little I played, I mean, I had 8 out of 10 worth of fun with it, and it's something that I could still just pop in and play, and it's really fun. And I don't know why they haven't turned this into at least, if not a reboot or a remaster, some sort of online, battle royale component with like, RPG elements of like, getting to upgrade all your stuff and your character and different skins that you could do and different upgrades. Like it's perfectly built for that game style.
Maybe one day.
I hope so.
Who knows?
Because if you're looking at the money that Fortnite games like Fortnite and what are like PUBG, the money that those games are making, and you're looking at the Twisted Metal series going, this could work. I mean, get on it, Sony. Let's do this. I'm down.
Yeah, I would be too. Like I would play a new Twisted Metal game.
I would
if they came out with one.
Yeah, you'd think that would be. I mean, this was such a flagship series for the PlayStation. Why they haven't made why they haven't kept it going up till now is just kind of mind-boggling. Like, it's such a cool series.
Like I said, maybe one day.
Yeah,
they'll bring it back. I think eventually they will. It may not be anytime soon, but I think they will.
But yeah, I recommend it if you have a PS2 and you don't have a copy. They're relatively cheap, so I recommend it. It should be in the PS2 library if you have one.
Yes.
But that's going to do it for that review for this week. And before we go, I did want to say that our good friend I Am the Rampage has given us some game codes to give away. And from the Sonic Humble Bundle, how do you say it? The Humble Bundle that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I just call it the
the Humble Bundle. But yeah, we got some game codes to give away, so we're gonna do that next week, and we'll come up with a little contest for you guys, to win some game codes of some Sonic games. Thank you to I Am the Rampage for that. And,
yeah, for sure.
So listen in next week, and you can find out how you can win some of those game codes.
Maybe we should do some Sonic trivia.
Maybe. I'm okay with Sonic trivia.
Yeah.
But you got to be here to win. So you have to be here at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time next Wednesday.
A chance to win some free games, some discussion on Halo.
Yeah.
What more could anyone ask?
Be here for the Halo discussion. You want to be here for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so what you got going on with the Derek Diamond experience? I know the finale is coming up here soon.
So, but before that, this past Monday, I released our watch along we did with Wally for the original Ghostbusters movie and the Ghostbusters roundtable that me, you, Wally, and Mr. Mike Eveland did.
Yes.
Will be dropped tomorrow. So between those two episodes and then Wally's appearance on the Fantastic People podcast, you should have more than enough Ghostbusters content to get you ready for Afterlife. But we had a blast talking about the whole Ghostbusters franchise. So that episode will be out this week, and then this upcoming Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live is the final episode of the Derek Diamond series. It's crazy because it's been, I'll get into the sentimental stuff on Monday, but I mean, it's I think if not it's one of the longest running podcasts on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah,
it has to be.
So it has to be.
But for that, I got to do a top 5. I'm doing top 5 movie endings.
Yeah, I've got to get my list together and put it on there.
That's going to be a tough one because there's a lot of good movie endings. But I'll be doing that and just kind of having general discussion like I do for most of my live shows. So be sure to stop by if you want. It's facebook.com/DDiamondPodcast. And that airs this upcoming Monday, which is November 22nd at 6 p.m. Central Time.
Awesome. The Open Micers podcast, go check it out. Last week we talked to comedian Mo Alexander, and we had a whole running joke about our local barbecue place called Pleasance, where they it's barbecue and used tires. So that was
Interesting.
A nice little running joke. So that was a great, one of my favorite episodes we've ever done of that show. Mo Alexander is one of the funniest people to walk the planet. And please go check out that episode at Open Micers on Twitter and facebook.com/openmicerspodcast. So if you've never heard of Mo Alexander, you're missing out on one of the funniest comedians, one of the funniest people on the planet. And we talk about how he got banned from Graceland. So you have to go hear that story.
You have my attention.
Yes. And the only way to hear it is to go listen to the Open Micers podcast. So that's all I got for this week. Is there anything else we got to talk about before we go?
Just real quick, if you want to follow my new show, which will be launching in January, it's at Feature Prez Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Already, the Instagram's doing really well. I'm almost up to 300 followers already.
Wow, already?
Which is pretty surprising, and I haven't even put a single episode out yet. So, yeah, been trying to post some cool stuff on there, a few times a week. So, as the premiere, gets closer, I'll release more information. Like I've got a couple of guests that are pretty much locked in, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
But I've got some cool stuff lined up for the first couple of episodes. So
awesome.
We'll see how that goes.
Well, I'm going to play our music, and we are going to walk out the door. If you'd like to email us your stories, any stories you want us to cover, or you want to just tell us that we're awesome or we suck, send it to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. We're at Facebook at facebook.com/nerdcaveretro. We're on Instagram and Twitter at nerdcaveretro, and individually at jfunktastic and at Derek_Diamond. Go get some merch over at ncrmerch.com. We got face masks, we got bags, we got hats and shirts and wall hangings, coffee mugs. We got everything. ncrmerch.com. We're also at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, where as little as $1 a month helps out the show, and we keep doing those commentary tracks every single month. If you can't do that, leave us a review wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. So, Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Yes.
Chucker, eh?
And that was episode 250.
250.
250.
We're going to blink and it'll be 300.
I know. We did it. 250 episodes.
In the can.
Yep.
Sweet.
So they're going to listen to these millions of years in the future and maybe be able to reconstruct us. And some sort of AI from all of our banter.
There doesn't need to be an AI version of me.
And we can live again.
I would probably pull a Skynet.
Yeah, maybe. But thank you guys for watching. And thanks for hanging out with us in the chat room, you guys. And we will see you next week.
Come back for Halo.
Yes.